or nervous during any of his scenes. He is always totally confident in his abilities right up until the end. So 2 scenes in, and we still don't know almost anything about Luis's backstory, but we do already have a pretty complete picture of his character. Mysterious, funny, confident, and at least somewhat compassionate. Luis doesn't show up in person again for another 3 chapters, but we can start to piece together his backstory through documents and journals and photographs. The first document we need to look at is a report sent by Leon's handler after she looked into Luis's past. Here it is. Name Luis Serra Navarro, age 28, gender male. Serra's name first appears publicly in a university student registry. No prior records have been discovered, including his birth certificate. After graduating from university, he was employed by Umbrella's research division, where he became a rising star who won favor among his peers. He was involved in the development of several common over-the-counter drugs, all of which were discontinued before ever reaching the market. See the attached list for details. A few years later, Serra resigned from Umbrella and could not be located. After the Raccoon City incident, efforts were made by law enforcement and the government to track down anyone with links to Umbrella. But despite conducting an extensive search, they were unable to find him. Considering how well he evaded them, we are almost certain Serra went to great lengths to disappear. Comment over-the-counter drugs. Do you seriously think Umbrella would let the best work on some antacid or beauty cream? Okay, first of all, if Luis is 28 years old, then I'm 12 and a half. There's no freaking way this guy is 28. But anyway, this report continues the mystery that is at the center of Luis's character. He appeared as if from nowhere, and then after a successful career, disappeared back into the ether as if he had never existed at all. This is all new backstory for Luis. In this remake, Luis was a researcher for the Umbrella Corporation, a star among his peers, which means he must have been involved in the development of dangerous bioweapons, some of which we've probably encountered in previous games. Once again, I think this new backstory is a really smart decision by the writers. It connects Luis to the rest of the series in a satisfying way. In the original, Luis is basically just some random guy, but by connecting him to Umbrella in the remake, means he is now connected to the research lab at the center of the first game, and he is connected to the Raccoon City outbreak at the center of the second and third games. He is even connected to Wesker's grand plan in the fifth game. Resident Evil is a series of games, and in a series, you want everything to connect. You want all of the pieces to fit together. You want every game to be part of a larger story. Before, Luis was just some random piece floating on his own. Now, Luis is a snug part of the overall puzzle. It also complicates his relationship with Leon. Leon hates the Umbrella Corporation. After Raccoon City, he isn't going to trust anyone with connections to them. He was already distrustful of Luis. Now, Leon's really not going to like him. That means that in order for them to trust each other, to work together, their relationship is going to have to overcome this huge hurdle. And when it does, that will be a satisfying narrative arc. This is so
Come
much more
on.
narratively interesting than the original game's story, where they both just sort of immediately like and trust each other. The next document we need to look at is labeled as Old Man's Journal. 3 years ago, my beloved daughter passed away shortly after giving birth to a son. Since then, the boy has grown considerably. He is a very curious child and has a true thirst for knowledge. He even tries to follow after me when I go out hunting. I can't take my eyes off him for a second. Whenever we walk in the forest, he always asks me to tell stories. He's very fond of Don Quixote. The boy is spry and observant beyond his years. If he weren't stuck here, he might have become a song. I was a careless fool. I could have sworn I shot clean through the wolf's head, and it lunged out. I was able to make it
Come
back to the
on.
cabin, but my wound is swollen from the skeleton. I cannot bear seeing the boy's bright eyes. My body moves on its own, and I can hear voices inside my head. Am I going mad? I can't die now and leave the boy behind. Dear God, please protect him. You won't even know that the boy described here is the same one as in the photograph you saw earlier. You have to piece these things together on your own. You have to investigate, you have to explore, you have to engage with the story. At this point in the game, this note could be describing any of the characters or none of them. The first time I read it, I assumed it might be talking about Sadler or even Mendez, maybe, or possibly neither of them. It could have been some other character. The game doesn't lay it all out for you in an obvious way, and that fits with the mystery, which is one of his central character traits. The best mysteries are
Oh,
the ones you
36.
yourself, just so long as the writers have provided you with all the tools you need to solve it. The developers have written Luis with a new tragic backstory, in which his father was absent, his mother died in childbirth, and his grandfather was infected by adds a new dimension to his character. All of Luis's confidence, his sarcasm, his humor, his goofiness, all of that hides a lot of darkness and trauma. You don't lose your entire family and be unaffected by the loss. Instead of his goofiness simply being a fun character trait, this new backstory makes it seem more like a coping mechanism for deeply moving trauma. Laughter and sarcasm and humor are common responses to trauma. If you can't do anything about it and you'd rather not cry about it anymore, you might as well laugh. And that is Luis's character. There's also an added tragedy and irony in that Luis, with his research, will help spread the exact parasite that once infected his grandfather. We don't know the specific details of how and why Luis joined the Illuminados, whether he was ever a true believer or simply a man without any other options or something else. Luis's backstory, for all that it's been expanded in this remake, is actually still quite light on specific details. The writers gave us only enough detail to paint a broad picture of the story of his life. That's a choice made by the writers and developers. They're making a bombastic action horror game, not a visual novel. How much time and space can they dedicate to this character's story? They need to pack in as much story in as little space as possible. And for how little space they had to work with, I think the developers did pack a lot of story in here. From this document, we also learn that Luis was an unusually intelligent and curious child, even to the point of risking his own safety. We know that he loved his grandfather, wanted to be with him, worried for him when he was sick. That's the compassion we see in Luis as an adult. He always cared about the people around him. Let's move on. If you're a very thorough explorer and you return to Mendez's house with Ashley, which you have to go out of your way to do, the game will reward you with more of Luis's backstory. This document is labeled as Village Records 1 and it was written by Mendez. There's a young boy who lives in the cabin by the lake with his grandfather. It seems that his mother was called to heaven upon his birth. His grandfather isn't taught much, but the lad is very bright in spirit. He told me a story about a night who arrived at donkey again today. The boy's grandfather has fallen ill and his condition worsens every day. The boy worries terribly about him, and there are rumors of a madness among the villagers. As I took my leave, the old man pulled me aside and said, "If anything happens, you know what to do." I could only nod in response. It was a terrible night. Everyone stood around the cabin and watched as it burned to the ground. The boy looked on without saying a word. Even as dawn broke, he didn't move a muscle. The next day, he was gone. This is the conclusion of the story being told in the old man's journal. The grandfather would rather die than fall under the control of the parasite. He asks Mendez to kill him, and Mendez acquiesces. Mendez kills the grandfather and burns down the house while Luis looked on. With nothing left for him in the village, Luis left. He started a new life in the outside world. He went to university. He was employed by the Umbrella Corporation and became one of their star researchers. Later in his life, when he lost everything again, when Umbrella Corporation had imploded, when he became a wanted man, he returned to the village as his own home, the only place he had left to return to, and he found it under the control of the Illuminados cult. And for some reason, he joined them, aided them in researching and spreading the very parasite which had killed his grandfather, which had once destroyed his whole life. We can really only guess at his motivations here. Maybe he really believed in Sadler's cause. Maybe he believed a world controlled by Sadler would be a happy one. Maybe he didn't have any other options. Maybe, like so many others, he was just trying to survive for another day. There's another document to look at in Mendez's attic. This is the exact same photograph as before, except this one has writing on it. It says Navarro family, 1981, and it is labeled as photo of a boy and his grandfather. This is confirmation that the boy we've been worrying about is Luis. This is a photo of him and his grandfather. Except I still didn't realize that when I first found this photograph. Like most fans, I knew Luis as Luis Serra because that was his name in the original. I completely overlooked that the developers gave him a second surname in the remake. His new name is Luis Serra Navarro, but I wasn't paying attention. So when I saw that photograph and it said Navarro family, I was like, who the heck is the Navarro family? It wasn't until Luis started talking about Don Quixote that I finally made the connection between the boy and him. That's a danger with this style of investigative storytelling. When you leave it up to the players to piece together your story, sometimes they will miss what should be an obvious detail.
Let's focus.
You. Hey, this is earlier. Yeah, hey, I see you found your missing senorita. Senorita has a name, Miss Ashley. You are? Name's Luis. Great. We all have names. Now then, who are you? What are you doing here? Very good questions. First, I never. In that case, here, help me. Ashley, quick. Over here. It's game time. And so began one of the most famous set pieces in action video game history. I really can't overstate how incredibly scary, intense, and cool this cabin fight was the first time they experienced it in the original game, and Luis is central to that. I think a lot of the reason fans like Luis is less for his character and more for this specific gameplay segment where you and he together fight off these seemingly endless and impossible horde of zombies in a very confined space. And he is actually useful as an NPC, a rarity at the time of the original's release. He draws the enemy's attention, gets some shots off, spouts off silly one-liners to diffuse some of the tension. This whole sequence is masterfully done. I'm going to talk about it more in a later video, where I'll dig into how Resident Evil 4 crafts its particular style of horror. But this is a video about Luis, so we need to talk about him. Luis offers Leon and Ashley shelter when they are being chased by a horde of zombies, which speaks to that fundamental compassion within his character. When he sees someone in trouble, he tries to help. Unlike in the original game, where Leon and Luis immediately start working together, here Leon is still very distrustful of Luis, which is understandable considering both of their histories with Umbrella. I've already talked about how this is a part of setting up a much more compelling and satisfying narrative arc for their relationship. Two characters who have to learn to trust each other is a much more compelling story than one about two characters who automatically trust each other without any word. And this cabin fight is a part of that. I also want to talk about the cutting of a certain line in this scene. In the original game, when meeting Ashley, Luis very famously says, "Well, I see that the president has eloped his daughter with the hostess too." While the camera zoomed in on her breasts, I think it's obvious why that line was cut. While it was funny because of how ludicrous and stupid it was, it also made Luis seem like a weird creepo. No comment on the size of the girl's breasts the very first time you meet her, man. That is tacky and mean. The writers want you to like Luis, and there's a significant portion of the audience who is not going to like him if he behaves like a sleaze. So while the game loses some of its campiness, I think this was a very smart cut. There's also a really clever mixing of gameplay and story happening during this segment. Not only is Leon the character learning to trust Luis, but so is the player. This is a very difficult section of the game, as is it probably wouldn't be possible to complete if you didn't have this AI helper with you. He's not quite as effective at killing zombies as I would have liked, but as a distraction and a source of ammo, he helps a lot. You will develop a liking for him just because he helped you complete one of the toughest sections of the game. After escaping from the cabin, we get this scene. have to trust me. Great, we're partners then. Hey, why are you time for any questions? They probably be stinky. Why are you helping us? Because it makes me feel better. Let's keep it that. We'll contact you later.
Biết à, biết anh này tiếp à? Biết anh
Vâng ạ, bánh mì ạ. Oh fuck! Dude!
hay thật đấy.
Oh, okay. I wasn't even nervous, dude. Jesus Christ. Okay.